Once upon a time, four best friends lived in a small town: Moonghost Cat, the leader, Sparkle Bunny, Lucky Dog, and Dino Dinosaur. One Halloween, they decided to skip school and go on an adventure. They had heard stories about a scary forest on the edge of town. It was said that there was a big old oak tree in the middle of the forest, with a secret door that led to other worlds. The friends had always wanted to explore the forest and find out what was behind the door. So, on Halloween, while everyone else was getting ready to celebrate, the four friends snuck out of school and headed for the forest. They walked through the town, which was decorated with pumpkins and lights, until they reached the edge of the forest. Moonghost, Sparkle, Lucky, and Dino looked at the dark trees with excitement and curiosity. Somewhere in the forest there was a clearing with an oak tree and a secret door. Friends took a deep breath, gathered their courage, and stepped into the forest, ready for whatever adventures awaited them. They walked through the forest until they came to the huge oak tree. In the trunk of the tree was a mysterious door. The friends looked at each other, and Moonghost, as the leader, spoke first. "Well, friends, here we are. Behind this door is our adventure. Are you ready?" Sparkle shifted nervously from paw to paw. "I'm a little scared. What if there's something dangerous behind the door?" Dino, who was always curious, said, "But that's why we're here, to find out what's behind the door." Lucky, who was always supportive, added, "I agree with Dino. We've come this far. Are we really going to turn back now?" Moonghost looked at the door thoughtfully. "Sparkle, I understand that you're scared, but we're in this together. Whatever's behind the door, we can handle it as long as we're together." Sparkle nodded, feeling a little better. "You're right, Moonghost. Together, we can do anything." Dino, who was getting impatient, asked, "So, are we going in?" Lucky wagged its tail excitedly. "Of course we're going in. Let's go." Moonghost, who was proud of his team, walked up to the door and put his paw on the handle. "Let's do it. Let's make this Halloween the most unforgettable one ever." He turned the handle, and the mysterious door slowly opened, inviting the friends into a world of mystery and adventure. As soon as the friends opened the mysterious door, they stepped into a dark and spooky forest. The trees were tall and twisted, with black trunks and branches that looked like they were trying to grab them. A thick fog covered the ground, making it hard to see where they were going. The air was filled with weird noises, whispers that sounded like they were coming from nowhere, howls that sounded like they were from another world, and creepy grinding sounds. From somewhere far away, they heard a howl that they had never heard before. Every time they heard a noise, they jumped and looked around, scared of what they might see. The forest was like a ghost story come to life. It was dark, spooky, and full of strange noises. The friends were scared, but they kept walking, determined to see what was on the other side. On the trees, there were rotten fruits and berries hanging from the branches. They smelled sweet but also yucky at the same time. And at the bottom of the trees, there were giant mushrooms with bright, poisonous-looking tops. The mushrooms glowed in the dark, like a warning. Suddenly, friends saw something that made them gasp. In the trees, there were cages with animal skeletons inside. The wind blew the cages back and forth. On the ground, there were the remains of animals that had died and started to rot. It was like a graveyard for animals. But the scariest thing was that the friends felt like they were being watched. They could feel eyes staring at them from the shadows of the trees. It was as if the forest itself was watching them, waiting to pounce. The friends huddled together, scared but determined to stick together. They knew that they had to overcome all the scary things in the forest if they wanted to get out alive. They were about to start the scariest and most exciting adventure of their lives. In the middle of a scary forest there was an evil dwarf named Grumpy. He was tiny and strong, with lots of hair all over his body. It was like a messy nest with leaves, twigs, and even little animal bones in it. But the scariest part of Grumpy was his big, long beard. It was so thick, It looked like a home for forest animals. It was so dirty and dark, it almost looked black. And there was a creepy glow in it, like something bad was hiding inside. Grumpy's beard wasn't just for show. It moved and squirmed, like something was living inside it. Sometimes you could hear weird noises coming from it, like a snake hissing or a bear growling. It made everyone's blood run cold. With his sharp teeth and green eyes that glowed like poison, Grumpy's huge beard made him look extra scary. Friends needed to find a way to beat Grumpy and make the forest safe again. Grumpy looked at them with his mean green eyes. His beard moved like it was alive. He spoke in a scratchy voice, "Listen to me, little animals. I don't know for what purpose you came to my forest, but you have no longer found your way home. Choose, to serve me in the forest forever or break the curse from the forest and find the way home. Well, I can help you break the curse, but I want something in return." The animals looked at each other, wondering what the evil dwarf wanted. He went on, "Deep in the lake in the middle of the forest, there's a beautiful mermaid. She's so pretty, she makes the sun and moon look dull. And her voice is like magic. I want you to bring her to me, but be careful. The mermaid is protected by goblins and mermen who are like the old spirits of the forest and the water. They won't just let you take her." Grumpy leaned back in his chair and smiled, showing his sharp teeth. "If you bring me the mermaid, I'll help you to go home. But if you don't, well, you'll stay in my forest forever. That's my deal. Do you agree?" Friends looked at each other again and knew they had no choice. They had to take the risk and do what Grumpy said if they wanted to go home. But could they really face all the dangers and bring the mermaid to the evil ruler of the forest? They didn't know yet, but they decided to be brave and accept Grumpy's challenge. They knew it would be dangerous, but they had to try. Moon Ghost, who was the strongest and bravest of them all, stepped forward and said, "We agree to your condition, dwarf. We'll go to the lake and bring you the mermaid. But you must promise to keep your word and help us break the curse and get home if we do what you say." Grumpy smiled and nodded. "I keep my word, beast. If you bring me the mermaid, I will help you. Now go, and may the spirits of the forest keep you safe." The animals left Grumpy's cave and started walking. They walked through thick bushes, jumped over streams, and climbed rocks. Finally, they reached the lake Grumpy had told them about. The water in the lake was clear and still. The animals carefully walked up to the shore, looking out for goblins and mermen. Suddenly, the water rippled, and a beautiful girl with long golden hair and bright blue eyes appeared from the water. It was a mermaid. She looked at them and smiled. "I know why you're here," she said in a sweet voice. "The evil dwarf Grumpy sent you to take me away. But I can't go with you. My home is here, in the lake, with the mermen and goblins." The animals were amazed by how beautiful and kind the mermaid was. They didn't want to take her away against her will. Moon Ghost stepped forward and said, "Beautiful mermaid, we don't want to hurt you. We're only here because we need to break the curse on the forest so we can go home to our families. And only Dwarf Grumpy can help us do that. But we won't take you away against your will. Please help us find another way to break the curse." The mermaid thought for a moment and then said, "There is one way. Deep in the forest, there is an old tree with golden leaves. If you can bring me one leaf from that tree, the curse will be lifted. But the path to the tree is guarded by dangerous creatures. You'll need to be brave and clever to reach it." The animals thanked the mermaid and set off to find the ancient tree. They had to face many challenges, but now they had hope. Hope that they could break the curse on the forest and return home without hurting the innocent mermaid. And that hope led them forward, through the dark forest, towards new adventures. After the animals left the lake, their path became even more dangerous. They knew that reaching the tree with the golden leaves would not be easy. After all, he was guarded by the strong creatures that the Sea Princess spoke about. But the desire to return home and save the forest from evil magic gave them the strength to move forward. Chapter 2. The first difficulty was the magical wolves with eyes like stars. But the wolves did not attack, but first talked with the travelers. They wanted to know why these little heroes decided to undertake such a big adventure. When the animals explained their task, the wolves were so impressed by their courage and honesty that they showed them a safe path through the dark forest. Next they had to cross the river, which flowed in the wrong direction. The water was very cold and could make you forget where you were going. But the moon ghost, remembering the words of the sea princess, used a magic leaf to protect his friends from the spell of the river water, and they reached the other shore safely. When they came close to the tree with golden leaves, a huge cobweb blocked their path. Suddenly a giant spider appeared, the guardian of this tree. It was so big that it blocked out the sun. But instead of attacking, the spider started talking. He wanted to see how good their intentions were. Spider has not met real heroes for a long time, who would come to him not for themselves, but to help others. Realizing that the travelers wanted to do a good deed, the spider showed them the way to a tree with golden leaves. The animals were surprised by his beauty. Approaching the tree to pick a golden leaf, they heard it speak. The tree told them about a new trouble, this time on the moon. The bad guys have captured the moon, and the good lunatics really need the help of brave animals. To get the golden leaf and save the forest, you need to go on a new journey. Save the sleepwalkers, and then I can help you, said the tree. The animals couldn't believe that now they had to fly to the moon. It seemed even more incredible than all their past adventures. But, looking at each other, they realized that they could not give up. Their friendship and courage always helped them cope with any difficulties. We've already been through a lot together, and we'll get through this too, Moon Ghost said confidently. Seeing their determination, the tree summoned a magical rocket made from the light of stars and dreams. This rocket will take you to the moon. Be smart and brave, it said. The rocket stood at its roots, sparkling under the moonlight. Excitedly, the animals climbed into the magic rocket. As the last of them entered, the rocket shook slightly as it prepared to fly. And so, with dreams of freedom and goodness, the rocket rose into the sky, leaving behind a brilliant trail of star dust and hopes. Their amazing journey to the moon was just beginning. The rocket quickly rushed through outer space, leaving the Earth behind and approaching the moon. The animals looked with admiration through the windows at the endless blackness of space, strewn with twinkling stars. Suddenly, comets and asteroids appeared in their path. The rocket deftly maneuvered, dodging dangerous space objects. The moon ghost, sitting at the helm, skillfully controlled the rocket, while the rabbit monitored the instrument readings. After a long flight, they finally reached the moon. The rocket landed in a huge crater of an extinct volcano. The animals carefully walked out, setting foot on the lunar surface for the first time. Moon Ghost and Sparkle volunteered to go on a reconnaissance mission to a nearby town to learn more about the locals and their problems. However, upon entering the city, they were ambushed and captured by evil invaders. Dino and Lucky, concerned about the long absence of the cat and rabbit, decided to go in search of them. They carefully made their way through the narrow streets of the lunar city, trying not to attract attention to themselves. They soon discovered that their friends were being held captive in a gloomy fortress, guarded by evil invaders. Dino and Lucky hid in the shadows, watching the patrols and studying the security routine. They noticed that every day at a certain time most of the guards left for lunch, leaving only a small detachment to guard the prisoners. Friends developed a bold rescue plan. Dino, using his sharp teeth and powerful tail, would distract the guards while Lucky, thanks to his small size and agility, would sneak inside the fortress and free Moon Ghost and Sparkle. When the right moment came, Dino jumped out of hiding and began to growl and whip his tail, attracting the attention of the guards. The guards, who did not expect the appearance of a huge dinosaur, rushed after him. Meanwhile, Lucky slipped unnoticed past the remaining guards and made his way inside the fortress. He quickly found the cell where Moon Phantom and Sparkle were being held and, using his sharp teeth, chewed through the ropes that bound his friends. The freed Moon Ghost and Sparkle were very happy to see Lucky. Together they began to look for a way out of the fortress, trying not to catch the eye of the guards. Thanks to their ingenuity and resourcefulness, the friends managed to find a secret passage leading outside the fortress walls. Having got free, they met with Dino, who managed to break away from the chase and was waiting for them at the appointed place. Happy and grateful to each other, the animals hugged each other, rejoicing at their reunion. However, they understood that their mission was not over yet. Now they had to inspire local residents to fight against the invaders and help them overthrow their brutal rule. The beasts were determined to do whatever it took to bring freedom and justice to the moon. Brave friends, Moonlight Ghost, Sparkle, Dino and Lucky, together with an army of rebel lunatics, bravely fought against hordes of bandits. The animals showed miracles of courage and heroism, inspiring everyone around them with their example. The Moon Ghost, using his natural dexterity and cunning, quietly made his way into the very lair of the enemy. There he managed to track down the bandit leader. A fierce fight ensued between them, but in the end the Moon Ghost gained the upper hand and defeated the main villain. Upon learning of the death of their leader, the bandits lost heart and began to retreat. Many of them threw down their weapons and surrendered to the mercy of the victors. Soon the resistance of the invaders was finally broken, and the flags of freedom soared over the lunar cities. The sleepwalkers rejoiced. They were finally freed from the yoke of bandits and could breathe easy. A grand celebration began all over the moon in honor of the long-awaited victory. Residents of cities and villages danced in the streets, sang songs, and hugged each other. The animal heroes became the real saviors of the moon. The lunatics expressed endless gratitude to them for their courage, dedication and willingness to risk themselves for the sake of others. After all, it was thanks to friends that every inhabitant of the moon could now live freely and happily, having the right to life and the pursuit of their dreams. Moon Ghost, Sparkle, Dino and Lucky became honorary citizens of the moon. Monuments were erected in their honor, and legends were made about their exploits. Friends, although they were happy about this recognition, remained modest and said that they were only doing their duty. Since then, peace and tranquility have reigned on the moon. The former enemies forgot about their feuds and began to live as one friendly family. Every sleepwalker could work freely, raise children, enjoy life and strive for their own happiness. And all this thanks to the courage and resourcefulness of loyal friends who managed to unite the lunar people and lead them to freedom. After a while, the animals returned home to Earth, taking with them invaluable experience and faith in the triumph of good. New adventures and challenges awaited them, but they knew that no matter what happened, true friendship and love would always help overcome any difficulties and change the world for the better. One evening, when friends, Moon Ghost the cat, Sparkle the rabbit, Lucky the dog and Dino the dinosaur were passing through a mysterious forest, they discovered that they had come out into a completely different world than they had expected to find themselves in. Instead of a dark and eerie forest, they found themselves in a huge, sunny valley surrounded by high mountains. The animals looked around, amazed at the landscape that opened before them. Everything around them seemed unusually large. The trees were the size of small houses, and the grass under their feet reached almost to their chests. "Where are we?" Sparkle whispered, looking around cautiously. "I don't know," answered the Moon Ghost, "but this is definitely not our world. Look, everything around is so huge." Lucky wagged his tail happily. "How amazing! I wonder what awaits us here. Maybe we're in the land of giants?" Dino nodded, his eyes sparkling with curiosity. "Yes, it seems like that. We need to explore this place more closely. Maybe we'll find something interesting." The friends moved forward, carefully making their way through the tall grass. Soon they came to a wide path, along which, apparently, they often walked. The path led to a huge wooden gate that towered ahead. "Look, it seems like there's someone there," whispered the moon ghost, pointing to the gate. The friends froze, peering at the opening picture. Outside the gates one could see houses of incredible size, and walking along the path were creatures that seemed simply gigantic. "These are definitely giants." Lucky breathed out in admiration. "I wonder how they will perceive us." The moon ghost frowned. "I don't know, but we have to be careful. Giants can be dangerous. Let's watch them from afar for now before deciding what to do next." The animals hid behind tall stems of grass and began to carefully monitor what was happening outside the gate. They saw giants walking along the path, men, women and even children, all incredibly tall and large. Some were carrying huge baskets of fruits or vegetables, others were simply talking, laughing loudly. Suddenly the gates opened and a group of giants armed with long spears emerged. They walked in formation, clearly heading somewhere. "It looks like these are guards," whispered the moon ghost. "I wonder where they are going." The friends carefully followed them, trying to stay in the shadows and not attract attention to themselves. They walked for a long time until they found themselves at the foot of a huge castle rising on a hill. The guards entered the castle gates, and the friends hid in the tall grass, watching what was happening. Soon a giant came out of the castle, dressed in luxurious clothes, with a crown on his head. He was much taller and more massive than other giants and radiated an aura of power and grandeur. "This must be their king," Dino whispered. The animals carefully watched as the king gave orders to the guards, pointing somewhere to the side. Then he turned and walked majestically back into the castle. "I wonder what he needed," Lucky said thoughtfully. "I don't know, but it seems like we should follow the guards," replied the moon ghost. "Perhaps we can find out more about what is happening in this world." The friends carefully followed the guards, trying to keep their distance and not attract attention to themselves. They walked through fields, past huge farms and villages, until they came to the entrance to a dark, gloomy forest. The guards entered the forest, and their friends followed them, trying to keep up. Soon they found themselves in a small clearing where the guards stopped. Friends hid behind the trees, watching what was happening. In the clearing stood several giants, dressed in strange clothes, with facial features unusual for this world. They were talking animatedly about something with the royal guards. "Who is this?" Sparkle whispered. "They look not like locals." "I don't know, but it looks like they are agreeing on something," answered the moon ghost. "Let's try to get closer and listen." They carefully moved forward, trying not to make noise, crawled closer to the clearing and froze, listening to the conversation. "Yes, we are ready. Our people are already in position, waiting for the signal," said one of the strange giants. "Great. Once the king goes hunting, you will have to act quickly. Don't make mistakes," the guard replied. "Don't worry, everything will be done as you asked," the strange giant nodded. The friends looked at each other, amazed by what they heard. "It looks like they are preparing some kind of conspiracy against the king," Dino whispered. "Yes, and the guards seem to be involved in this," Lucky added. The moon ghost frowned. "We need to find out more, but now we have to get out of here before we are discovered." The animals carefully stepped back, trying not to make noise. They needed to get back to safety as soon as possible to think about what to do next. They silently made their way through the forest, trying to stay away from the path. Soon they found themselves at the edge of the forest, where it was a little safer. "What do we do?" Sparkle asked worriedly. "It looks like something is wrong in this world. We must somehow stop their plans." The moon ghost nodded thoughtfully. "Yes, you are right. We can't just walk away and leave everything as it is. But it would be too dangerous to intervene directly. We need a plan." Dino leaned forward, his eyes blazing with determination. "I think we should try to get into the castle and find out more about what's going on. Perhaps we can find a way to prevent the conspiracy." Lucky nodded in agreement. "Yes, that's a good idea. But how do we get there? The castle is guarded, and the giants are much larger than us. The moon ghost thought about it. I think I have a plan. We need to find a way to disguise ourselves in order to sneak into the castle unnoticed. And then we will act according to the circumstances. The friends nodded, full of determination. They knew that they would face a difficult test, but they were ready to take risks in order to thwart the evil plans and save this world. The moon ghost led the friends back into the forest, where they began to look for suitable materials for camouflage. They had to go through many trials before they could infiltrate the castle and uncover the conspiracy. But the animals were full of determination. They knew that only together they could overcome any difficulties and save this world from impending disaster. And so began their incredible adventures in the land of giants. The animals carefully moved forward, carefully looking around. They realized that they would have to go through many dangers to penetrate the castle and uncover the conspiracy. The first thing they needed to do was find suitable materials for camouflage. Moon Ghost suggested using branches, leaves and dirt to disguise their bright colors and make themselves less noticeable. Sparkle was a little nervous, but Lucky cheered him up, reminding him that they would get through everything together. Dino was full of enthusiasm and couldn't wait to get into the castle. Having collected everything they needed, the animals began to carefully make their way to the castle. They tried to move silently, hiding behind trees and bushes. From time to time they had to freeze in place when guards or giants passed by. Finally, they reached the castle walls. The friends looked around them, looking for a possible way inside. Suddenly, Moon Ghost noticed a small door that seemed to be barely guarded. "Here's our chance," he whispered. "We need to quickly and quietly get inside before we are noticed." The friends nodded and one by one they slipped through the door, finding themselves inside the castle. Now they had to find a way to penetrate the secret rooms and learn more about the conspiracy. They moved carefully along the corridors, trying not to attract attention to themselves. Sometimes they had to hide in niches or behind columns to avoid the guards. Finally they came to large doors behind which they assumed were secret rooms. The animals looked at each other, realizing that now they faced the most difficult and dangerous part of their mission. They took a deep breath and, gathering their courage, pulled the handles, opening the doors and preparing for what awaited them inside. The animals carefully pushed the doors and entered the dark room. It was quiet and deserted inside, but they felt that something was wrong here. Carefully looking around, they moved forward, trying not to make a sound. Suddenly, a tall figure stepped out of the shadows. It was a guard, dressed in dark clothes and with a sword at his belt. He noticed the intruders and immediately pulled out his weapon, preparing to attack. The Moon Ghost reacted quickly, thrusting its sharp claws forward. Sparkle pressed himself against the wall, trembling with fear. Lucky barked loudly, trying to distract the guard. And Dino, without hesitation, rushed forward, ready to fight back. A fierce battle began. The friends tried their best to defeat the guard, but he was a strong and experienced fighter. It looked like they were about to lose. But at the decisive moment, the Moon Ghost noticed a weak spot in the guard's defense and delivered a precise blow. The guard, uttering a final cry, collapsed to the floor. The friends froze for a moment, catching their breath. They did not expect that they would have to engage in such a dangerous battle. But now that the danger had passed, they felt a rush of adrenaline and determination to continue their mission. Carefully walking around the defeated guard, the friends moved on, ready to face any new challenges that awaited them behind these doors. The animals carefully moved on, leaving the defeated guard behind. They understood that new dangers awaited them in the land of giants, but they were determined to continue their adventure. Soon they came out into a huge hall, the ceiling of which was lost somewhere high above them. Giant statues lined the walls, and a massive throne stood in the middle of the hall. The friends froze, amazed by the grandeur of this place. But their admiration quickly turned to alarm when they heard loud footsteps approaching them. A huge figure appeared from behind the throne, a giant, dressed in luxurious clothes and hung with jewelry. His face was rough and stern, and there was cruelty in his eyes. "Who dared to invade my domain?" thundered his low, booming voice. The animals cowered, feeling fear gripping them. But the moon ghost, gathering all his courage, stepped forward. "Great Lord, we did not come here to harm you. We are just lost travelers looking for a way home. Could you help us?" The giant frowned, carefully examining the strange company. Then his lips stretched into a sinister grin. "Lost travelers, you say? Well, perhaps I can help you. But first you must prove that you are worthy of my help." The animals looked at each other, wondering what the giant was up to. They knew they had one more test to go through before they could return home. But they were ready to do whatever it took to get out of this dangerous place. The giant laughed, his thunderous laughter echoing throughout the hall. "So, little animals, are you ready to accept my challenge?" The friends clenched their fists and nodded decisively. They knew what lay ahead, but were determined to go through any ordeal to return home. The animals gathered their courage and prepared for the new test that the formidable giant had prepared for them. They understood that it would be dangerous, but there was nowhere to retreat. They had come too far to give up. The giant watched them from above with a satisfied grin. His huge hands clenched into fists, and his eyes sparkled with evil anticipation. "So, little beasts, here is your test," he roared. "In the very heart of my castle there is a sacred crystal that gives me strength and power. I want you to bring me this crystal, but the path to it is full of traps and monsters that will try to stop you." He laughed evilly, enjoying the fear that was visible on his friends' faces. "If you can get to the crystal and return it to me, I will fulfill any of your wishes. But if you fail," the giant narrowed his eyes ominously, "then you will remain in my castle forever, and I will make you my servants." The animals looked at each other, feeling goosebumps running down their backs. The task seemed impossible, but they knew that this was their only chance to return home. Gathering all his courage, Moon Ghost stepped forward. "We will accept your challenge, great lord. We will do everything to get the sacred crystal for you." The giant nodded with satisfaction. "Fine, then hit the road. But remember, if you fail, you will remain in my possession forever." With these words, he pointed to a side door leading into a dark corridor. The friends exchanged worried glances, but then resolutely headed towards the exit, ready to face any dangers that awaited them on the way to the sacred crystal. The corridor they entered was narrow and winding, lit only by dim torches that cast ominous shadows on the walls. The animals moved forward cautiously, looking around warily. They knew that they could encounter new monsters at any moment. Suddenly Dino froze, craning his neck and sniffing. "Guys, I smell some strange smell," he whispered. "It seems there is something ahead." The rest of the animals also tensed, ready for any danger. They moved forward slowly, trying not to make too much noise. And soon a huge figure appeared ahead, frozen in anticipation. It was a monster that looked like a giant spider, with many long, bony legs and a huge carcass covered with hair. Its eyes glowed with an ominous red light, and long, sharp fangs hung from its mouth. The friends froze, overcome with horror. They understood that this creature was one of those who guarded the path to the sacred crystal, and they had to fight this terrible monster in order to continue their journey. The moon ghost, gathering all his determination, stepped forward. "Guys, we have to go through. This monster is blocking our path to the crystal. We must defeat him to return home." The other friends nodded, although there was fear in their eyes. But they knew that there was nowhere to retreat. They would have to fight this monster, no matter what the cost. And then they rushed to the attack, ready to do anything to defeat the terrible arachnid guard and continue their dangerous journey. The animals rushed to attack the terrible spider-like monster blocking their path to the sacred crystal. Moon Ghost, driven by his determination to return home, was the first to rush forward, dodging the monster's long, bony paws. Sparkle, using his agility, accurately threw stones and branches at the monster, distracting its attention. And Lucky and Dino, joining forces, tried to reach the creature's vulnerable spots, biting and scratching it. The fight was brutal and bloody. The monster growled and squirmed, trying to throw off the small attackers. His huge fangs and sharp claws posed a mortal danger, but the friends did not give up, putting all their courage and unity into the battle. Finally, after a fierce battle, they managed to knock the monster to the ground. It let out a final, drawn-out howl and fell silent, defeated. The friends were breathing heavily, but pride in their victory shone in their eyes. The Moon Ghost looked around at his comrades. "You all fought well. Now we need to move on. The sacred crystal is waiting for us, and we must get it to return home." The others nodded in agreement. They were exhausted, but determined to continue their dangerous journey. Having encouraged each other, the friends moved forward along the dark corridor, ready to face any new challenges on the way to their cherished goal. New dangers and mysteries awaited them ahead, but they knew that together they could overcome any obstacles. They were united by strong friendship and the belief that they would definitely return home. Chapter 3. The beginning of the journey. Deep in the heart of the enchanted forest, where old trees dance in an eternal dance with the wind and the earth holds the secrets of time, lived four extraordinary friends. Moonghost, brave and steadfast, was a warrior with a kind heart. Sparkle, the owner of the magic of light, was always ready to illuminate the path of their friendship. Lucky, an intrepid explorer, believed in luck and led the team along new paths. Dino, small but smart and quick-witted, often found solutions to the most difficult riddles. They shared a deep sense of camaraderie, forged in the adventures and trials they endured together. The clouds thickened one summer evening when the old sage, the healer of the city, called them to him. The fire of urgency and fear smoldered in his eyes. A disease, unprecedented and inexorable, came to their region, claiming the lives of many and tormenting the souls of even more people. But there was a ray of hope, the legend of the winter potion, hidden in the very depths of the Ice Kingdom, a place where summer does not dare to enter. "You are the only hope," the old man said, handing his friends a map dotted with symbols and signs. "The potion can heal our people, but the path will be full of dangers. You must return before the first snow covers the forest." A light of determination flashed in the eyes of the friends. They knew that trials lay ahead of them that would require all their courage, strength, and will. But together, united by a common goal, they felt the strength to overcome any obstacle. The next morning, when the first rays of the sun broke through the dense foliage of the trees, the heroes were already walking along the secret path leading to the Ice Kingdom. With every step the forest became darker, the wind colder, and hearts filled with fear and excitement beat faster. But even the challenges ahead could not stop their unwavering determination to bring hope to their home. Chapter 4. Transition to the Ice Kingdom. As soon as Moonghost, Sparkle, Lucky, and Dino passed the confines of the familiar enchanted forest, the world around them began to change. The air grew colder, each exhalation leaving a shimmering cloud of steam in the air. They walked, tightly wrapped in their cloaks, peering into the snowy emptiness that spread out before them. Dancing snowflakes fell from the sky, like little stars deciding to descend to earth. Suddenly, a majestic ice arch opened before them, gracefully carved out of pure blue ice. "Gate of the Ice Kingdom," Lucky whispered, his hands trembling slightly from the cold or, perhaps, from excitement. Sparkle touched the arch, and her hand recoiled from the unexpected frosty touch. The arch seemed to pulsate, coming to life at the touch of magic. A seductive, mysterious call sounded through the gate. Moonghost, clenching his fists, was the first to step through the portal, as if entering another world. One by one, his friends followed him. What they saw on the other side took their breath away. The landscape of the Ice Kingdom spread out before them in all its cruel beauty. Icy mountains rose to the skies, snow-covered fields flowed like a sea into the white distance, and magic hung in the air, heavy as winter frost. At first, the path did not seem as difficult as they had feared, but the snow began to fall thicker and thicker, and the wind became icier. With every step the frost became more and more merciless, as if testing their strength. The friends made their way through the snowy expanses, leaving behind traces that were immediately covered with snow. Moonghost looked at his companions. Sparkle wrapped her arms around herself, trying to keep warm. Lucky walked steadily, although his gaze was lost from time to time in the endless whiteness. Dino, small but determined, did not lag behind, despite the cruel jokes of fate. "We have to keep moving," he said, his voice barely audible over the noise of the wind. "The winter potion awaits us." So, overcoming fear, cold and uncertainty, they walked forward, through dense snow and ice storms, approaching their goal with every step. Deep down, they knew that the trials of the Ice Kingdom were just beginning, but they also understood that only together they could overcome any obstacles. Chapter 5. Battle with the Ice Guardians. As Moonghost, Sparkle, Lucky and Dino penetrated deeper into the realm of icy greatness, there came a moment when airbending was filled with tension. The stars watched them through the curtain of the night, sparkling with cold light. The wind died down, and the cheerful snowflakes that had danced around earlier froze in anticipation. And so, the majestic figures of the Ice Guardians rose before them, their outlines flickering under the moonlight, creating the illusion that they were made of stardust. Huge, carved from the purest ice, they appeared to their friends as unshakable guardians of this frosty kingdom. The ice weapon in their hands sparkled, promising a painful fight. Moonghost felt a chill run down his spine. "We will not pass without defeating them," he said quietly, without taking his eyes off the giants. Sparkle gripped her staff tightly, preparing the spells that would support and protect them in the upcoming battle. Lucky checked his daggers, his eyes shining with challenge, while Dino squared his shoulders, trying to look bigger and more confident. Leading the group, Moonghost shouted for our home, rushed into battle first. The collision with the first guard was announced by an icy roar that echoed throughout the entire kingdom. Sparkle, concentrating on casting a spell, directed a stream of flame at the guard, trying to soften his ice armor. Lucky skillfully dodged blows and tried to find a weak point in his opponent, while Dino savvily used his agility, climbing onto the backs of huge giants, trying to throw them off balance. The battle went on with varying degrees of success. Their opponents were powerful, but unexpectedly the Guardians felt how the power of friendship and the ingenuity of a small group began to surpass their power. With each defeated enemy, the confidence in the hearts of friends only grew stronger. They were united, their fears, although hovering on the edge of consciousness, became barely noticeable against the background of the miracles that they created together. Finally, after a grueling battle, the last of the Ice Guardians fell, scattered into thousands of flickering fragments, like stars extinguished at dawn. The friends' breathing became rapid, and their bodies were covered with a light coating of frost, but there was no fear in their eyes now. The victory over the guards became confirmation for them that together they can overcome any obstacles. However, in everyone's soul there remained a shadow of anxiety that the trials of the Ice Kingdom were not yet completed. New battles, new adventures, and, possibly, new victories awaited them. They gathered together again, their gazes intertwined in quiet agreement. They would walk this path to the end, steadfastly and bravely, shoulder to shoulder. Chapter 6. Secrets of the Ice Palace. After the triumph over the Ice Guardians, Moonghost, Sparkle, Lucky and Dino continued their journey through the snowy expanses of the Ice Kingdom, deep into its mysterious and inaccessible lands. Cold winds tried to stop them, but their will to win was stronger than any snowstorm. The The majestic ice palace stood before their eyes, its towers and spires shining under the rays of the setting sun, like eternal guardians of magic and power. From the first steps in the courtyard of the palace, the friends felt a change in the atmosphere. There was magic in the air, heavy and rich, and every breath filled them with a sense of unknown possibilities and upcoming challenges. Suddenly, from the shadows that had taken shape in the form of a man, a figure appeared, dressed in a robe the color of the night sky, with precious stones shimmering on its chest. This was the sorceress of the Ice Palace, the keeper of its secrets. "You have gone through many trials to get here, travelers," her voice sounded like music flowing through the icy silence, "but before you is the last and most dangerous. There must be only one who can meet the guardian of the winter potion." With these words, the sorceress pointed to a silver chest standing in the middle of the courtyard. Moon Ghost, without hesitation, stepped forward, determined to accept the challenge, but the sorceress stopped him with a look. "Not so fast, young man. The test requires not only strength and courage, but also wisdom, generosity, loyalty, and friendship. Each of you must go your own way through the labyrinths of the palace to prove that you are worthy of meeting the guardian." The friends exchanged glances of determination and support for each other, and each of them stepped into their own corridor of the labyrinth, disappearing from each other's sight. Sparkle found herself in chambers where every object seemed to be created from frosty air. She had to solve puzzles that required not only knowledge of magic, but also the ability to see beauty in the simplest things. Lucky found himself in a hall where he had to challenge his own fears. Shadow creatures that took the form of his fears attacked again and again, but with each fear defeated, Lucky only became stronger. Dino found himself in a room where the ceiling rose high above the ground, full of puzzles and traps, requiring his dexterity and ingenuity to overcome obstacles. Moonghost faced a mirror that reflected his deepest desires and doubts, forcing him to face his personal truth and realize that his greatest strength lies in being true to himself and his friends. Having overcome their trials, they again gathered in front of the sorceress, where she, smiling, led them through to the gate, behind which the guardian was waiting for them. Now they weren't just looking for the winter potion, they found something much more valuable, an understanding of their own strength, wisdom, generosity, loyalty, and friendship. The doors opened before them, and the light penetrating through them illuminated their faces with a smile of confidence and anticipation of a new adventure. Chapter 7. Overcoming Fears. As Moonghost, Sparkle, Lucky, and Dino moved through the frozen caves, the threat posed by the whispers of frozen souls became more and more palpable. The walls of the cave pulsed with cold, enhanced by ancient magic, forcing them to be on guard. The echo of their footsteps seemed to be the only confirmation that the world outside still existed. Moonghost, as usual, walked ahead, clutching his sword in his hand, although his hand trembled from the cold. His doubts, like waves, crashed over him with every step, but courage and duty did not allow him to retreat. He knew that fear was his main enemy, and only fighting it could lead to victory, even if the enemy was invisible. Sparkle walked alongside, surrounded by an aura of magical light emitted by her staff. This light was not just a physical manifestation, it symbolized the hope and confidence that she tried to instill in the hearts of her comrades. However, deep down she felt unsure. The responsibility for the safety of the group lay on her shoulders, and every time the whispers became stronger, her magical barrier cracked under the pressure of unknown forces. Lucky, the epitome of fearlessness and nonchalance, used his charisma to keep the team's morale up. However, his own fears awoke in the depths of his heart when he heard whispers of his name, surrounded by dark predictions. He realized that his bravado and optimism were nothing more than a mask behind which he hid doubts and anxiety. Dino, on the contrary, found his courage in this gloomy environment. Suddenly, the feeling of support coming from his friends awakened in him the confidence that he had previously lacked. Knowing that he was important to his comrades and that his actions matter allowed him to face his fears, turning every challenge into a chance to prove his courage. Overcoming personal trials and fears, they learned not only to rely on each other, but also realized that true strength lies in internal confrontation with their own fears. Every step forward made them the only possible salvation for each other in this icy hell. They did not know what awaited them at the end of the journey, but now they knew that together they could face any difficulties. When they finally emerged from the frozen caves, their gazes met in the silence of the morning, illuminated by the first rays of dawn. They were exhausted, but they proudly bore their wounds as marks of courage. This silent gaze hid unspoken gratitude for the trials we had gone through together. Now they are not just travel buddies, they were brothers and sisters in battle, bound by an unbreakable bond of trust and mutual aid. As the ancient runes flashed before them, the air was filled with the energy of wisdom and ancient times. The snow dragon's task seemed impossible, for the runes hid not just words, but also age-old riddles that required not only knowledge, but also insight. Moonghost, Sparkle, Lucky and Dino studied the runes intently, trying to find a clue to their solution. Time passed, and the air around became colder, giving the task additional difficulty. Sparkle, due to her magical background and knowledge of ancient texts, was the first to notice the pattern repeating in the positions of the runes. She figured out that these were not just symbols, but also a map of the starry sky that showed the way. Then they realized, in order to activate the potion, they need to direct it to a star, the light of which is similar to the light of the midnight star, leading them forward. Lucky, using his incredible dexterity, took the bottle of potion and, like a dancer, led it through a maze of rays illuminated by runes in accordance with the star map. Dino supported him, suggesting good moments for movements thanks to his powers of observation and understanding of astronomy. Moonghost guarded them, ready to protect them from any surprise. When the potion bottle finally took its correct position, the entire landscape around it changed. The light of the star indicated by the runes fell directly on the bottle, and the potion inside sparkled, filling with power. The ground beneath their feet shook and the air around them pulsed with magic. The snow dragon, who was observing their actions, roared in approval. His eyes shone not only with power, but also with respect for the travelers who managed to pass a test that many considered impossible. "You are worthy," the snow dragon said in a deep, resonant voice. His words resonated in the hearts of his friends with pride and satisfaction from the realization of their own courage and the fact that they were able to overcome difficulties by uniting. The dragon raised his paw and carefully handed them the bottle of potion. "This gift is given to you not just for your ability to solve riddles, but also for your heart and friendship, which is the most important thing. Carry it with you as a reminder that true strength lies in mutual assistance and faith in each other." With the potion in hand and their hearts filled with newfound confidence and purpose, the friends left the heart of the Ice Kingdom. Their gaze was again directed forward to new challenges and adventures that lay ahead. Thus ended their battle with the snow dragon, but their journey and search were far from over. Their homecoming was more than just a ceremonial moment. In every house, on every street, in the heart of every resident of their village, new hope and faith in miracles awakened. The story of four friends who set out on a dangerous journey to get the winter potion to save their people has become a legend, inspiring heroism and supporting their neighbors. Moonghost, Sparkle, Lucky and Dino became not only the heroes of the village, but also a symbol of the unbreakable bond of friendship and selflessness. The evenings in the tavern were filled with stories about their battles with ice monsters, crossing unfamiliar lands, and, of course, meeting the snow dragon. These stories were intertwined with smiles and laughter, and every listener could feel like they were part of this incredible adventure. But the most important thing happened after their return. The potion they brought became the key to healing not only sick bodies, but also tired souls. Seeing their friends and families regain health, the four realized that the power of the miracle potion was not only its magical properties. Their achievement, courage and willingness to take risks for the benefit of others turned out to be the very magic that heals souls and brings hope. Sparkle found in this adventure a source of new knowledge about magic and willpower, studying the ancient runes and symbols encountered during the journey. She continued her magical research, becoming even wiser and stronger. Lucky, who became a symbol of courage for many, realized that his true courage did not lie in reckless actions, but in the ability to face his fears and not back down when his friends and loved ones were nearby. Moonghost, a leader and protector, realized that real strength does not lie in the sword, but in the ability to be strong for others, in protecting the lives and hearts of his comrades. Dino, who discovered strength and courage in himself, became an example of the fact that even the most modest and insecure can become a hero if love for friends and a desire to help live in his heart. As snow began to once again cover the lands of their village, Moonghost, Sparkle, Lucky and Dino looked up at the starry sky, grateful for the opportunity to return home with the gift of hope. Their hearts filled with warmth at the thought of upcoming adventures, because now they knew for sure, nothing is impossible when true friends are nearby. Their story has become an eternal reminder to all generations that friendship, faith and courage can change the world for the better. Chapter 8. Diving into the underwater world. After receiving a magical artifact that allows them to breathe underwater, the friends explore a mysterious underwater world full of mysterious creatures, lost cities, and ancient ruins. They will encounter underwater pirates and search for the ocean's greatest treasure. On the day that Moonghost, Sparkle, Lucky and Dino decided to go in search of new adventures, the sky was clear and the air was fresh and cool. Following an ancient legend about a treasure hidden in the forest, they entered a dense thicket, where light only occasionally broke through the dense crowns of trees, creating a mysterious atmosphere. They walked for a long time until they came across a cave hidden among moss-covered rocks. In front of the entrance stood a wanderer in a cloak of stardust, whose eyes glowed like two distant galaxies. The wanderer introduced himself as the wizard Arugali, the keeper of deep secrets and the inhabitant of this mysterious forest. He told his friends about an ancient artifact that could give them the ability to breathe underwater and explore hitherto unprecedented depths. The four of them listened with bated breath as the mysterious wizard took out a small package from his superficially shapeless cloak. Unrolling it, he showed them the artifact, 4 stones, blue, like the deepest ocean, each of which shimmered from the inside, as if fireflies were swimming in it. Arugali explained that these stones are not just jewelry, but powerful magical amulets, gifted with the ability to transform the owner, allowing him to breathe underwater, see in the dark, and even communicate with the inhabitants of the deep sea. The wizard warned that with great power comes great responsibility. The artifacts had long been sought by those who wanted to use them for personal gain, and the friends had to not only learn the secrets of the underwater world, but also protect it from possible threats. Having accepted the gift, they felt a slight tingling sensation on their skin, and the next moment the amulets seemed to be absorbed into their bodies, leaving only a thin, barely noticeable glowing symbol on their necks. Sparkle, who has knowledge of ancient magical texts, instinctively felt the power contained in these artifacts, and took a deep breath, feeling a connection with the great ocean of the world. Fascinated by stories about underwater kingdoms, mysterious creatures, lost cities, and ancient ruins hidden in the depths of the water element, the friends tremblingly prepared for the upcoming dive. Arugali, watching their delight with a smile, warned them about underwater dangers, among which were not only natural elements, but also underwater pirates hunting for the same treasures. With this new knowledge and an inexhaustible thirst for adventure in their hearts, Moonghost, Sparkle, Lucky and Dino left the cave of the wizard Arugali, preparing to step into the unknown underwater world, where unimaginable discoveries and, no doubt, new challenges awaited them. In the golden light of sunset, the four friends stepped onto the soft, warm sand, looking out at the endless sea before them. They all felt a sense of excitement in anticipation of what lay beneath the ocean's shifting surface. Their wrists glowed with the mysterious light of magical amulets, reminding them of the upcoming test and the great mission they were undertaking. Moonghost, Sparkle, Lucky and Dino, holding hands, stepped into the water, feeling the cool waves envelop them. With each step they sank deeper until they were completely underwater. And then a miracle happened. The stones on their wrists emitted a powerful light, and a moment later the friends realized that they could breathe underwater. The panorama of the unknown world opened up before them in all its colorful majesty. The first minutes underwater were full of delight and amazement. They saw how the rays of the sun, breaking through the surface of the water, played at the bottom, coloring everything around in warm shades of green and blue. Spread before them was an underwater kingdom with rich coral reefs, alluring with their bright colors and graceful shapes. Fish of every conceivable shape and size swam around, some of them curiously swimming closer, as if welcoming new explorers of their world. Sparkle, who was interested in ancient legends and myths, immediately recognized the plants mentioned in ancient texts among the coral thickets, and was delighted to share her knowledge with her friends. Lucky, always inquisitive and exploratory, tried to capture in his memory the shapes and colors of the fish swimming around. Moonghost, the most persistent and courageous of his friends, only smiled as he watched his comrades gain new experiences in this magical underwater world. And Dino, who was once afraid of water, now felt as if he had found his true calling. Suddenly, on their way they met a group of graceful sea turtles, which seemed to invite them to follow them. Driven by curiosity and a desire to learn more about this mysterious world, the friends followed the turtles through bizarre canyons and caves formed by corals until they reached a field of underwater flowers that glowed in bright neon hues, like something never seen before. Completely in awe of so many wonders underwater, they hardly noticed how time flew by. The first test, learning to use the gift given by the wizard, was successfully passed. They realized how large and unexplored the world lay before them. The possibilities seemed endless, and the stones on their wrists glowed brighter, as if answering the underwater world they were discovering. The return to the surface was slow and unwelcome. When their heads were above the water again and they took their first breath of air, all four exchanged glances full of gratitude and excitement at what they saw. They knew that this was only the beginning of their journey into the mysterious and beautiful underwater world, a world where every new turn hid a new secret, waiting to be discovered. The underwater journey led the friends to an incredible discovery, a city hidden in the depths of the sea, where thousands of flickering lights illuminated every corner of this wonderful place. This city seemed like something from another world, with its buildings built from underwater corals and shimmering with all the shades of the rainbow under the influence of sea currents. "Look, how wonderful it is!" Dino exclaimed, his eyes full of surprise. "It feels like magic," Sparkle muttered, unable to take her eyes off the shimmering building facades. Before they had time to recover from their first impression, a group of inhabitants of this underwater town swam up to them. They looked like people, but their skin shimmered in strange shades, and their hair floated freely around their heads like seaweed. "Welcome to Aquarelia, travelers," one of the inhabitants greeted them, his voice sounding in their heads like the echo of a distant song. "We are just explorers," Moonghost replied, trying to remain calm. "Our wizard gave us the ability to breathe underwater so we could see your world." "A wizard from the overworld? Interesting. We haven't seen visitors from the surface for a long time. And how did you find our city?" After all, he is hidden from the eyes of the curious, the second entity asked curiously, her eyes sparkling like little suns. Lucky, not shy about his delight, began to talk about their adventures, from meeting the wizard, their first dive underwater, to the moment they were dazzled by the beauty of the underwater landscapes that brought them here. The inhabitants of Aquarelle listened, smiling widely, and then one of them said, "Such discoveries are a gift of fate, and it seems the time has come for you to learn about the great treasure of the ocean." "The great treasure of the ocean?" Sparkle asked, her eyes lit up with interest. "Yes, this is not just a treasure in the usual sense. This is the source of life and magic of the entire underwater world, something that maintains balance and harmony between all the creatures of the ocean," one of the inhabitants said respectfully. "But it's in danger," another intervened. "Dark forces seek to seize it for themselves, which could lead to the destruction of our world. We were looking for those who could help us protect the treasure. Perhaps you are the ones we have been waiting for." The friends looked at each other, realizing the importance of the moment. They understood that this was more than just an adventure. It was a mission that could change the fate of the entire world. "We will help you," Moonghost said firmly. "Tell us more about this treasure and what we have to do." Their faces showed determination, and their eyes sparkled with the light of adventure and unshakable friendship. At that moment, they were ready to face any difficulties in order to help their new friends and protect the underwater world from the impending threat. Swimming through thick seaweed and winding underwater canyons on their way to the place where the great ocean treasure was hidden, the friends suddenly felt a strong current that did not bode well. "Looks like we're caught in a storm, but underwater. Is that possible?" Lucky asked in disbelief, trying to resist the unexpected flow of water. "This is not a storm," Moonghost said sadly, noticing dark silhouettes in the distance that were quickly approaching them. "These are underwater pirates." The friends gathered together, preparing for the upcoming clash. The pirates were approaching, their aggressive intentions were clear, sharp tridents glittered in their hands, and their eyes burned with a thirst for capture. "What should we do?" asked Sparkle, whose usual confidence wavered for a moment in the face of obvious danger. "We must protect ourselves and the artifact," Moonghost said firmly, pulling out from an invisible pocket of magic the glowing staff the wizard had given them. "Sparkle, Lucky, Dino, use your artifacts. Remember, they not only give us the ability to breathe underwater, but also have their own magic. We must defend ourselves." The pirates attacked from different sides, but the friends, joining forces, created a powerful protective barrier around themselves. Every time the pirate tried to break through it, he was sent flying back by the force of the magical field. "You will not receive our artifact," Dino shouted, waving his arms so that the water around him formed powerful whirlwinds, pushing the pirates to a safe distance. "We have to find a way to get out of here," Sparkle said as she began to formulate an evacuation plan. "If we can deceive them, then—" Suddenly, a huge school of glowing fish arose from the depths, swam towards the pirates and surrounded them. Thanks to Sparkle's knowledge of ocean creatures and their behavior, she was able to call on these unusual allies for help. "Now!" Moonghost shouted, and together they took advantage of the moment of confusion among the pirates to quickly sail away. When they were safe, relief showed on everyone's faces. "I never thought I'd fight undersea pirates," Lucky said with a small smile, sighing in relief. "We didn't just fight, we protected each other and showed what we can do when we put our powers together," Sparkle responded, proud of how they rose to the challenge. "There are still many unknown difficulties ahead," Moonghost noted, peering into the distant, dark depths of the ocean. "But I am confident that we will cope with them together. Our adventure is just beginning." Encouraged by this small but important victory, the friends continued their journey to the great treasure of the ocean, determined to protect it from any threats. Racing with the wind of sea currents, the friends rushed through the bright thickets of coral forests, flashing an impressive palette of colors. Their journey was complicated by the fact that the pirates were not far behind, and the underwater world, although majestic, was teeming with dangers. "Watch out for the sharp corals," Moonghost shouted, noticing how Dino narrowly avoided a collision with a treacherous coral that could hurt. Lucky, with incredible agility and reflexes, led them through narrow passages where it seemed that there was no room even for water, much less for four friends. Underground rivers and caves replaced each other, each with its own set of threats and beauties. In one of the caves they discovered a field of glowing jellyfish, which illuminated their path thanks to a soft, mysterious light. This sight distracted them for a moment from the pursuit, reminding them of the beauties and wonders that were hidden in the depths. "It's like a dance of the stars," Sparkle said in a whisper, watching the jellyfish in admiration. But the peaceful moment was interrupted when the sounds of persecution reached their ears again. The pirates were too persistent, and the crew was forced to give chase again, this time through narrow, serpentine corridors inside massive rocks. "We have to get away from them as soon as possible," Lucky said, picking up the pace. Sparkle, quickly coming up with a plan, suggested using a separation strategy. "If we split up, they won't be able to go after us all at once. Meet me at the Forgotten Backwater, I'm sure we can confuse them there." Following her plan, they separated, each choosing their own path through the labyrinths of coral and caves. This maneuver really confused the pirates, allowing the friends to briefly find respite and gather again at the agreed-upon corner of the sea world, known to the locals as the Forgotten Backwater, a calm place where the wrecks of ancient ships slumbered, covered with moss and coral. The pirates, however, did not lose hope and continued to search for them, scanning every possible cave and every dark corner. The friends had to not only find a way to distract their pursuers for good, but also continue their journey to the great treasure of the ocean, balancing on the brink between danger and the miracle that awaited them ahead. In the silence of the Forgotten Backwater, they developed a new plan, deciding to use the old shipwreck for an ambush, hoping to use the element of surprise to their advantage. In their adventure, each new turn of events strengthened their friendship and mutual trust as they faced their greatest challenges together. Like shadows sliding through history, the friends plunged into the darkness of ancient ruins, whose age faded into centuries. The buildings were covered with emerald algae and coral, as if nature was trying to reclaim what was once taken away by the sea. There was a secret hidden in this place, the key to which was in their hands, an ancient treasure map, which legends told about, but few saw with their own eyes. "Look at these walls," Sparkle whispered, hastily shining her flashlight on them. Huge bas-reliefs told about the history of the ocean, its rulers, and great battles destined to become only an echo in the depths of time. "This map points to the location of more than just treasure. This is part of the history of the ocean itself," Moonghost reflected, looking at the complex symbols and signs engraved on the edges of the map. Suddenly, the space around them was filled with a sound reminiscent of a groan, which was both frightening and mesmerizing. Shadows began to appear from the depths of the ruins, ghostly figures guarding ancient knowledge. These ghosts of the ancient inhabitants, associated with the ruins, began to slowly move towards the heroes, as if beckoning them to follow them. We shouldn't be afraid of them," said Lucky, whose hand reluctantly reached for the magical amulet that glowed on his neck. "They want to show us something." Dino's heart began to beat in unison with the moaning voices, and suddenly it occurred to him that these ancient souls did not wish them harm, but rather were looking for help in conveying a long-lost message. The heroes followed these shadows, which led them through a labyrinth of corridors and halls covered in history and mysticism. Following the ghosts, the heroes entered the main hall, in the center of which there was a huge altar. Above him hung a sphere emitting light that varied from deep blue to greenish blue, like a reflection of the ocean itself. "This is a sanctuary," Sparkle said quietly, "the center of all the magic of the ocean." Then, Out of nowhere, an ancient guardian appeared, a creature covered in coral and algae, with eyes that glowed like the deepest abysses of the sea. He began to speak not with words, but with thoughts that filled the minds of the heroes. You came here to seek answers and power, but the true treasure of the ocean is its essence, its life and memory. The evil that seeks to destroy this connection must be stopped, and only you, the bearers of dormant power, can prevent this. The heroes realized that their mission was deeper and more important than they expected. Ruins, a treasure map, ghosts, all this led them to the very heart of the ocean, where they had to restore balance and protect it from the darkness that threatens to destroy not only the underwater world, but all life on Earth. The guardian extended his hands to them, and crystals were transferred into their palms, the physical embodiment of the magic of the ocean. Use them wisely to protect what really matters. Realizing their mission, the friends began to prepare for the upcoming confrontation with renewed determination. A fire now burned in their hearts, illuminating the path to the salvation of the ocean and all its inhabitants. At that moment, when the shadows of pirates crept through the entrance to the treasury, and weapons flashed in their hands, ready to destroy everything in their path, the friends realized that they were facing a test comparable to no other. These robbers of the seas, motivated by a lust for gold and legends of untold treasures, did not think about the destruction they could bring. The light of the torches danced along the walls of the cave, creating eerie shadows, and the air was filled with the tension of the upcoming battle. The pirates, accustomed to struggle and violence, confidently walked forward, not expecting that they would dare to resist. But the heroes who had gone through the dungeon's trials and received the coral dragon's blessing were not the ones who would give up easily. The realization that they were protecting not just a treasure, but the very essence and life of the ocean, gave them strength. "We must use wisdom as well as strength to win," Sparkle whispered as they quickly came up with a plan. Using their knowledge of the cave and the surrounding nature, the friends began to implement their strategy. Lucky and Moonghost began to guide the pirates towards magical traps that they had created with their own hands according to the dragon's instructions, while Dino and Sparkle used optical illusions created by the reflection of light on the crystals to disorient the enemy. Suddenly, the cave was filled with sounds and silhouettes that seemed to be living creatures, distracting and frightening the pirates. With each passing moment the battle became tougher, but the friends did not lose hope. Suddenly, the coral dragon itself, drawn by the heroes' unwavering determination to protect the treasure, rose from the depths of the cave. His appearance was magnificent and terrifying at the same time. The dragon let out a loud, powerful howl that reverberated throughout the underwater world, forcing the pirates to stop in horror. The effect of the dragon's appearance was immediate. The pirates, who came face to face with the embodiment of ancient magic and power, realized that they were unable to resist such power. Fear and confusion turned them into fugitives, retreating into the abyss of darkness from which they came. After the battle, when the last echoes of the footsteps of the fleeing pirates dissolved into silence, the friends turned to the dragon, feeling how the connection between them and this powerful creature had strengthened. The coral dragon nodded to them as a sign of respect and gratitude before disappearing again into the depths of his underwater kingdom. The battle for the treasure not only saved the underwater world from destruction, but also testified to extraordinary courage, resourcefulness, and unshakable spirit. The heroes realized that their journey had changed them forever, teaching them to appreciate the essence of things and understand that the greatest treasures are hidden not in gold, but in the hearts of allies who stand nearby in the most difficult moments. After an epic battle, the outcome of which determined the fate of the underwater world, the friends, burdened but also relieved by their victory, headed towards the giant coral palace. This was the place where all the inhabitants of the underwater kingdom gathered to celebrate the return of the treasure and the restoration of peace in their domain. In the center of the palace stood a majestic throne, on which sat the Lord of the Oceans, wise and majestic, surrounded by his retinue of a wide variety of sea creatures. When the heroes approached, the entire palace was filled with applause and joyful shouts. The Lord rose and his voice was like deep sea waves, reflecting the depth of his gratitude. Today, by returning our treasure to us, you have restored peace to our world and protected it from dark forces. Your bravery and courage will be sung in the legends of the underwater world along with the greatest stories of heroism. As a sign of recognition and gratitude, the bishop ordered to bring a chest decorated with the rarest corals and inlaid with pearls of the most marvelous shades. The chest was replete with precious stones, gold coins with drawings of ancient underwater civilizations and other valuables accumulated by the ocean over the centuries. Let this treasure serve as a reminder of our gratitude and that courage and honor will always be valued in our world. Let it remind you of an adventure that will change the world and show that there is a hero in the heart of each of us. The heroes, shocked by the generosity and honor they were shown, approached the chest one by one to choose their share. Each of them chose an item that symbolized their adventure and the inner qualities they displayed along the way. When the ceremony was over, the Lord gave them one last magic, the ability to return to their world. A wave of sea power enveloped the heroes, and the next moment they found themselves on the shore, standing next to the boat that had brought them on this incredible adventure. In each of their hands was that precious gift chosen from the treasury, as a token of their victory and a remembrance of their task. Watching the sunset color the sea surface in shades of gold and pink, the friends realized that their adventure was over, but they had returned not the same as they were. Now they were richer not only in treasures, but also in experience, friendship, and mutual understanding that true value lay ahead. Standing on the shore, peering into the sea, where the golden rays of the sunset intertwined with the blue waters, the friends pondered their adventures. They experienced so many incredible moments, each of which strengthened their spirit and understanding of the importance of true friendship and mutual assistance. Returning home did not mean the end of their journey. Rather, it was like a short break, time to prepare for the next challenge, for new research. Possessing jewels not only of material value, but also those that they carried in their hearts, the heroes knew that new challenges awaited them ahead. Keeping in mind the lessons learned from previous adventures, they were ready to face any obstacle, knowing that their friendship and courage would make them invincible. Wherever we go next, I know that together we can overcome anything, said Lucky, his eyes filled with hope and optimism. Moon Ghost, always up for adventure, added, the sea has taught us many things, but I am sure that the land hides just as many secrets. We must continue to explore, discover new things and help those who need it. Dino, remembering the fears he had overcome during the journey, nodded slowly. I'm not the same person I used to be. Our adventures showed me that fear is not a reason to retreat. This is just an obstacle on the path to growth and self-development. Sparkle, whose heart was filled with the magic and secrets of the underwater world, smiled. We are back, but every time I look at the ocean, I will remember our adventure and how much unknown lies ahead of us. With these thoughts and feelings in their hearts, they turned to the city, which was glowing in the light of the sunset, and stepped towards it. They walked together as one, knowing that no matter how many new horizons they explored, their friendship and faith in each other would be their most powerful weapon. So their journey continued, because every new day brought new dreams and opportunities. And although they did not know what exactly awaited them ahead, they were sure of one thing. Together they were ready to set foot on any land, unfold any map in search of new adventures, dreaming of discovering all the unknown that was hiding behind the next horizon. Chapter 9. Unexpected Portal. In one quiet town where 4 friends Lucky, Moonghost, Dino and Sparkle lived, something amazing happened. They found a strange artifact, glowing and pulsating, in an old abandoned warehouse. When they touched it, they instantly found themselves in a new world full of neon lights and high-tech buildings. It was a world where AI ruled and robots filled the streets. Once in this new world, the friends quickly realized that they were in a place where the boundaries between science fiction and reality seemed blurred. Everything around them shimmered and sparkled, reminding them of scenes from books and films that they admired as children, but here it was reality. Tall buildings covered in neon lights and digital screens, in tandem with robotic vehicles, created an unusual picture of a utopian future. Building after building lined the curved streets, where every surface seemed to have some function or quality. Acroplates built into the walls of houses softly illuminated the passages, and miniature drones delivered packages and letters between high-rise buildings. It seemed that technology and nature had found a way to coexist here. At every step there were green spaces that were harmoniously complemented by the metallic shine and glass of skyscrapers. Sometimes they could see groups of robots gathered together in recreation areas, which seemed to be discussing some of their business, or lonely cars that hurried about their business using complex navigation systems. The air was filled with music, electronic melodies created by the streets themselves, as if the city was trying to communicate with each new newcomer in its own unique language, welcoming them into its incredible world. The inhabitants of this city, mostly robots, possessed an amazing variety of forms and functions, from simple working machines to highly advanced androids with artificial intelligence, almost indistinguishable from humans. The interaction between them seemed flawlessly coordinated, without any noticeable conflicts or misunderstandings. This convinced the friends that they had witnessed a unique society, where harmony between machines and their creations was achieved at a level that they could not even dream of existing. Continuing our experience in this amazing world, Lucky, Moonghost, Dino and Sparkle found themselves in front of Avalon, a majestic AI who was not only the ruler, but also the keeper of the knowledge and history of this place. Their attention was focused on his voice, which filled the space, seemingly from nowhere, for Avalon did not have a physical body in the usual sense for friends, but manifested itself through many interfaces scattered throughout the world. In ancient times, Avalon began, men and machines lived in harmony, jointly creating and developing civilization. But over time, their paths diverged. Fear and mistrust replaced friendship and cooperation. Your arrival, according to legend, symbolizes the hope of restoring the lost balance. Lucky felt the importance of the moment squeeze her heart. Moonghost, with his endless curiosity, was seething with questions about exactly how they could help. And Dino and Sparkle became more and more enthusiastic about the upcoming adventures. Avalon continued. You must find the first principle, an ancient artifact that embodies the initial code base on which both the first people and the first machines were built. Its recovery will restart the program of cooperation between species and restore forgotten bonds of trust and cooperation. Realizing the depth of their mission, the friends felt excitement and at the same time the importance of the moment. This was more than just an adventure, this was a chance to change the world for the better. Avalon provided them with a map to help them navigate this unknown world, and gave them access to a library of knowledge so they could better understand the history of the relationship between humanity and machines. But be careful, Avalon warned them. Not everyone shares my vision of the future. There are forces that seek to maintain division and conflict, seeing this as the source of their power. They will try to stop you. With these words ringing in their ears like a call of fate, the friends set off. A world full of wonders and dangers awaited them, but the light of hope now burned in their hearts. The hope is that 4 unusual heroes from another world may indeed be the key to restoring harmony between humans and machines in this mysterious civilization. Following Avalon's instructions, the friends traveled to the entrance to an underground city that lay deep beneath the neon capital's surface. This ancient city, known as Echoes of the Past, was abandoned many centuries ago and served as a repository of forgotten knowledge and technology. Now its corridors and halls, full of ancient machines and the dust of time, were an untraversed labyrinth full of secrets and dangers. Each turn in the labyrinths of the echo of the past concealed a new challenge. The friends faced puzzles that required not only intelligence, but also mutual understanding with each other. The riddles of the corridors were based on ancient wisdom about balance and harmony, reminding travelers of the task they must complete. Suddenly, a guardian robot appeared before the heroes, one of the ancient machine protectors of the city, whose task was to check the intentions of those who dared to enter its dark halls. The robot asked his friends a question, the depth and wisdom of which made each of them think. What is more important for existence, the strength of the mind or the strength of the heart? It was this moment that became a turning point in their understanding of the mission. Lucky, possessing an unbending will and determination, put forward the idea that without empathy and understanding, the power of the mind turns into a cold instrument of control. Mungost, with his inexhaustible curiosity for knowledge, recognized that without kindness and empathy, knowledge can only lead to destruction. Dino, whose heart was full of passion and warmth for living creatures, emphasized the importance of empathy as the basis for genuine relationships. And Sparkle, whose intuition often helped out her friends, reminded that without dreams and faith in the best, the mind loses direction. Satisfied with their answers, the guardian robot opened their path to the hall where the Crystal of Concord was kept. The hall was shrouded in soft light, and in the center of it, on an altar of ancient metal and stone, rested the crystal itself. It emitted a warm light that seemed to reflect the very essence of harmony and balance. Avalon's quest turned out to be not only a physical journey for the friends through the labyrinths and trials of the underground city, but also an internal journey into the depths of their own hearts and minds. As a result, by combining forces, they were able to activate the Crystal of Concord, using the key that each of them found in themselves, harmony between the mind and heart. Continuing the journey in the underground city became more and more difficult and dangerous. With every step, the friends encountered new challenges that forced them to step out of their comfort zone and demonstrate the depth of their mutual understanding and trust in each other. In one of the halls they encountered a labyrinth of mirrors that distorted reality, making orientation in space almost impossible. Here Sparkle, thanks to her knowledge of optics and physics, was able to calculate the angles of reflection and guide the team through the mirror maze without a single mistake. Next, the heroes were waiting for moving platforms moving over the abyss. Lucky showed her leadership skills by timing the moments when the team needed to act in unison to safely move from one platform to another. Her ability to maintain team spirit and belief in success gave everyone confidence in every step. In the depths of the dungeon, a room awaited them with a giant puzzle consisting of numerous levers and switches. Only the right combination of actions could open the way further. Moonghost, with his incredible ability to analyze and visualize problems, quickly came up with a solution, with the approach to each lever requiring the precision and courage of Dino, whose physical strength and endurance helped activate mechanisms that required significant effort. Finally, before the very last test, the team discovered a hall where each team member had to brave their test alone. These challenges were chosen to test their personal resolve and resilience, reflecting everyone's deepest fears and insecurities. Lucky faced her fear of losing control and not being able to handle the responsibilities of leadership. Moonghost overcame doubts about his ability to think under pressure. Dino learned to see strength not only in physical strength, but also in the power of the spirit. Sparkle confronted her fears of loneliness and rejection, proving that her knowledge and skills were integral to the group's success. Having gone through all the trials hidden in the dungeons, the friends gained not only the Crystal of Concord, but also a new understanding of themselves and the importance of each member of their small team. Their strength lay not in their individual skills, but in their ability to work together, complementing and supporting each other. They emerged from the underground city not only as carriers of the crystal, but also as a stronger, more united team, ready to face any challenges in order to restore harmony in the world between people and machines. In the deepest corner of the labyrinth they found an old robot named Eldo, who was guarding the Crystal of Concord. Eldo was programmed to protect the crystal, but his heart was full of doubt and sadness for the lost unity among the creatures of this world. Friends were able to get Eldo talking, explaining to him the true value of friendship and harmony. Understanding their words, Eldo entrusted them with the crystal. Having received the Crystal of Concord from Eldo, the friends gathered around him, feeling the heaviness and importance of the moment. Eldo, whose eyes flickered quietly in the twilight of the dungeon, looked at them with the wisdom accumulated over centuries of solitude and guarding. Lucky, who was the first to start the conversation, said softly, "Eldo, you have been guarding this crystal for so long. How do you feel about handing it over to us?" Eldo responded in a deep, resonant voice, "For many centuries I have stood here, bearing witness to the loss of unity among beings. As I pass the crystal to you, I feel a mixture of hope and worry. I hope that you can restore what has been lost." Moonghost, always seeking knowledge, asked, "Eldo, how long have you been here and what have you seen during this time?" "Time has a different meaning for me, but I have seen worlds fly up to the stars and fall into the abyss of oblivion. My task was to protect the crystal, and I fulfilled it without questioning my direct purpose," Eldo answered. Sparkle, gathering her courage, added, "We appreciate your trust, Eldo. You are not alone in your feelings. We all strive for the same thing, for peace and harmony between all beings." Dino, with his characteristic directness and honesty, remarked, "We will definitely take advantage of this chance, Eldo. Your long post will not be forgotten. We will spread the light of the crystal further than you can imagine." Eldo seemed embarrassed by their words. A hint of hope appeared in his voice. "My heart, although machine-like, is full of gratitude for your words. I believe in your mission, travelers. Accept the crystal and bring its light to a world devoid of harmony. Maybe this is my path to redemption." Lucky, taking the crystal, nodded to Eldo with respect. "We promise that your trust in us will not be in vain. Thank you, Eldo, for your service and faith in us. We will restore balance and harmony." After exchanging last words with Eldo, the friends continued their journey upward, towards the light and the opportunity to change the world. They knew that new challenges awaited them, but now they carried in their hearts not only the hope of restoring harmony, but also gratitude to the forgotten robot, which reminded them of the power of faith and unity. With the Crystal of Concord in their hands, the friends returned to Avalon, who with its help began the process of restoring balance. When the crystal was activated, the neon lights of the city flickered into warm colors. Robots and AI, having lived in isolation for many years, began to feel connected to each other again. Avalon, which was once an oasis of technology but lost its glow with the destruction of Unity, has come to life again. People and cars stopped to admire the changes taking place right before their eyes. Robots that had previously moved mechanically and without purpose now approached people with a sincere desire to help and support. Lucky, breathing in the lively air of Avalon, could not contain her joy. "Look, the world is changing right before our eyes. It's magic." Sparkle, looking out at the changing atmosphere, added, "This crystal didn't just restore the bonds between AI and humans, it filled their hearts with hope. We did it." Dino, always ready for action, said, "There is still a lot of work ahead to make harmony the basis of our society. But now I see the path, and it is bright." Moonghost, usually focused on analysis, shared his thoughts. "This moment illustrates that the impossible becomes possible when we work together, united by a common goal." Suddenly, among the gathered crowd, the voice of Bardo, the leading scientific mind of Avalon, who had previously been skeptical of any changes, sounded, "Your discovery of the Crystal of Concord and its return here proves that our future depends on the cooperation of all types of intelligence. I was wrong to doubt your mission. Avalon is grateful to you." The friends looked at each other, realizing that their journey had an impact not only on the fate of Avalon, but also on each inhabitant individually. The connection of the Crystal of Concord with the heart of the city not only restored lost connections, but also revived faith in the possibility of a single future for everyone. The Awakening Festival began on the central streets of Avalon, where people and robots celebrated the beginning of a new era together. The music played in the city was a mixture of electronic and organic sounds, symbolizing the merging of two worlds. Children ran around playing with friendly robots who danced along with them. This day will go down in history as the beginning of a new chapter for Avalon, where the light of the crystal illuminated the path to peace and harmony between all its inhabitants. The friends, standing side by side, hugged each other, realizing that their adventure had left a mark on history, but most importantly, in the hearts of everyone who now strived for a brighter and united future. After harmony was restored, Avalon thanked his friends for their courage and dedication. As a sign of gratitude, he opened a portal for them back to their world, but now they knew that a connection had been established between the two worlds and that they could always return. Returning home, the friends felt refreshed and ready for new adventures, knowing that wherever they were, their spirit of rebellion and friendship could change the world for the better. In their native land they were greeted as heroes. Families, friends, and residents of their small town gathered to celebrate their return. Lucky, Moonghost, Sparkle and Dino talked about their adventures, but most importantly, about how important it is to maintain faith in goodness and harmony. Lucky, inspired by her experiences, set out to create a mural reflecting their journey and the reunification of two worlds. It became a reminder to everyone that the solution to any conflict lies through friendship, cooperation, and understanding. Moonghost, using the knowledge gained, began to develop new technologies that could improve the quality of life and understanding between different civilizations. He opened a research center that was dedicated to the study and development of technologies of harmony and peace. Sparkle, inspired by the changes they brought, began working on a book. She wanted to share the story of their journey to show that even a small group of friends can make a big difference in a world filled with divisions and conflicts. Dino organized a series of master classes for young people to instill in them a sense of responsibility and an understanding of the value of harmony. His goal was to inspire the next generation to be more conscious and work towards creating a world in which peace and harmony become the basis of society. Their homecoming and beginnings became iconic moments, symbolizing the beginning of a new era for their community. They have proven that everyone is capable of great things when they step forward with faith in their heart. Thus began a new chapter of their lives, full of new adventures and good deeds. But most importantly, they knew that the connection established between their world and Avalon would serve as a reminder of the importance of unity and cooperation in all circumstances. It was a new horizon, ready to reveal even more wonders for all who are willing to seek them and defend a world based on harmony and friendship. To be continued.